Do some quick maths, and I'm pretty sure Mad Lions spent 525 gold on pink wards on their last base. They came out, 3 players had 2, there was another one as well, so all of this SK vision, yeah, they've grouped up, they're getting it now, but that is going to disappear very, very quickly. They have to be able to hold their ground on this, or it's just going to be gone the second the sweepers come back online and these pinks go down.
It's so sick to see Nisqy popping off like this, especially as we talked about it in the opening of the show, that he wanted to show that he was still a carry. Everyone talks about how he's a facilitator, but now it's been twice we've seen this Zoe. He's looked absolutely stellar on it, and again he's shown up to be a mainstay carry for Mad Lions.
Of course, Mad Lions are now trying to hold off SK. 2 members, Hilly as well as Nisqy, pushing out SK from the river. Chasey goes all the way forward, now being backed up by the rest of the Pride. They've got control of the mid lane, they've got control of the jungle, and it's SK trying to find an answer, but they are so far behind. It is incredibly difficult to step into the darkness to get close enough to even challenge Mads.
Also, you have no towers outside your base for SK, and enemy team has multiple speed ups. The Sivir and the Karma can chase you down, so it's very hard for SK to continue playing forward. Now, luckily for them, I don't think Mad Lions are going to overcommit towards this Baron. They could start it up and again look to turn, but because SK are on red side, stealing away the Baron over the wall is always going to be something weighing on Mad Lions' mind. That's not really as viable an option for SK playing around the Drake. So 3 minutes till the Elder, that is going to be lights out.
And that's the thing with the poke, with the CC that you offer.
Here we go.
Is the engage coming out? Silence Field will at least prevent the...
Look at Carzzy!
From Chasey, because he's running into 5 members. He's blown up, obliterated by Irrelevant. Stepping 1 step too far. The wish from DOS doing so much, but Nisqy will not be able to find the Battle Star, and SK still on the retreat, still falling back.
And that's where I was about to say, I don't think Mad Lions need to actually get into the face of SK. Long range from Nisqy, the CC from the Cocoon, look to play for picks, look to play for SK as they step out of their base, but take a step too far, you get a kill onto Carzzy, you buy space for SK, and they can now wait to get some of this gold into their back pockets.
Are they called the Mad Lions or the Patient Lions, though? Because these cats are looking feral, looking for some frags every which way they can. Nisqy had a slight misstep earlier, but this just goes to show what SK can always do to you. The threat is always there!
Oh, so much damage. The thing is, it has been relatively consistent from the Mad Lions. They have looked for the picks. They have used vision to their advantage. They honestly are taking full advantage of Nisqy Zoe because he has almost single-handedly controlled the majority of this rift. DOS is continuing to run away for his life. Teleport's being challenged.
The silence!
Equinox is dropped! The silence was huge! And now Chasey caught in between 3. Got that ghost available to him. Hillisek stepping forward. Turns his focus onto Exekick. Doesn't have the damage just yet. Pulls him back with the all-out, and Hilly gets the kill in a 2v4. All of a sudden, Carzzy and Elyoya, they blow up Marcoon. Turn their attention to Irrelevant. Hilly flashes over the wall. Finds the route. Here comes the Mad Lions trying to find another kill. And SK Gaming can do naught to stop them.
Another Cocoon on the other side. Surge is trying to run, scramble his way back towards the base, has to turn it straight around. Mad Lions, what started out as Nisqy getting picked, obliterate SK Gaming.
Chasey popping off, getting onto Exekick, making sure there was no hope for SK in that fight. And once more, Mad Lions are standing tall, Baron in their eyes at 50 seconds till the Elder. How the hell do you come back into this one?
I don't know. For the Mad Lions, they have found every single objective throughout the course of their 30 minutes. That Baron will be secured. And this all started with Nisqy potentially overstepping. You criticize him for this move.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking for the one shot, gotta respect that, but DOS flashing into the silence field was really nice to guarantee the kill coming in. And then you think, oh, Chasey TP'd in, he's absolutely dead, but all of Mad Lions are on the way. I don't know how, but everyone always forgets about Chasey, and Chasey always delivers.
I think Exekick, though, bit of a misstep. He thought he was safe to walk that direction because Gragas had been hiding down at the bottom. Marcoon was trying to zone away Carzzy in that, but because you now don't have Exekick, Certus is the only real one left with damage. Irrelevant because he was set behind. Basically just a pretty looking
shot.
Well, we're going to find out. The entire kit is thrown out. Hourglass used their Elyoya by some time. All of a sudden, the damage coming back forward as Carzzy as well as Chasey secure yet another. Certus is in the ride, and taken down. Double kill for Cassante. All of a sudden, Mad Lions have got 40-second death timers and a 5v3.
I hate it when my entire champion is countered by one old pocket watch. Absolutely ruined. Doss is put to sleep underneath the tower. Relevant is going to be able to zone it away, and Doss barely survives.
There's nothing that SK can do. All of a sudden, Mad Lions are setting their sights on the Nexus turrets. Irrelevance, Mega Gnar, not going to be able to find a target just yet. He's pushed backwards as Chasey and Hilly continue to spam. Nexus turret number 2 is being burned down. Chain of Corruptions by just a couple seconds as Mad Lions may want to pad the stats, find some more kills, taking out Irrelevant as Chasey now turns back to the Nexus. Gen 1 goes to the Mad Lions.
A fantastic performance from the Mad Lions coming out of this. Immediately putting pressure onto the top side, getting Chasey ahead, getting control of the objectives, and making sure SK never got to play towards the strengths of their car.
The more impressive thing for me is the consistency with which Mad Lions were on that front foot, were playing forward. They didn't give SK a moment to breathe, a chance to come back, because SK have demonstrated they can do that.
They never deviated, right? This is a comp led by mid and jungle, and from Elyoya's early pathing to continually playing with Niski, getting him into the enemy jungle when they were looking for the sieges. The objective control was on point, and it was all because SK Gaming could never leave their side of the map.
And I think the thing was they didn't fall into the traps we've seen other teams like Vitality fall into against SK, giving up side lane control, giving the opportunity for Relevant to start split push, and slowly but surely SK find these opportunities to get back into the game. They were never ever taking their foot off the gas pedal, and Mad Lions did a beautiful job of closing that one out.
Yeah, Mad Lions never gave up a single Drake in the early game to delay by 5 minutes. That was a very early soul for them and just helped the snowball.
I think crucially as well, in terms of the draft, preventing and removing any of those frontline, heavy engaged, tank-style champions, having a gigantic impact on this. SK Gaming compositionally needed time, they needed to land the poke, they needed vision, but they never get a chance to set that
It
up.
was such a wacky draft, going heavy for the top lane, Sejuani making it through entirely, going for the AP Gragas. The one-shots never came in, because again...
Gaming, we have seen is a little bit more focus and pressure and threat in the top lane in the last few games. It was Elyoya moving towards Chasey, putting so much pressure on Irrelevant, taking his tower as well, keeping Irrelevant out of the game, and immediately Varus is going to be the first ban here from SK.
Yeah, I think Mad Lions sort of get to decide now, what is this draft going to look like? Is it junglers? Is it top laners? And like I was thinking, moving over towards the red side, they're going to have to remove a few junglers. Now, I expect to see the Elise taken off the board. I think that Marcoon has looked at his strongest so far this split when he's playing a proactive jungler, right? Like, he was one of the first players to start busting out that Elise. His early tower dives towards the bot lane were so strong for SK back in the early weeks. So I don't want to see him on something like the Gragas versus Elise again. He needs a lot more early game playmaking priority.
But the big thing though is if Mad Lions decide to leave open something like the Elise and say, hey Marcoon, you can have that early productivity, maybe they just go for something like a Lucian Nami for Karzi and Hilly in the bot side, and they actually just try to play through the strength there instead. It's something that was banned in the last round, could actually see it slip through here.
Wait a second, SK are just banning all the champions they picked last game.
It's an interesting approach here. When you look at that Jax ban, there's 0 games played for Chasey throughout winter. There's going to be the Elise finally removed from the pool on blue side as well. That's not something that we were anticipating, and that is a little bit concerning when you consider the strength of the champion in the current meta.
Yeah, I feel like it's basically a call out saying, hey, Sejuani is going to be the last big jungler here. Are you going to ban it? So with the Ashe ban, you're going to get the Sejuani coming through. I imagine you'll have a trade of the Lucian Nami coming through for Mad Lions, but it definitely feels like getting that Sejuani is the priority here from Marcoon.
Yeah, I think the Ashe ban is almost forced there from the Elise, because that's what I think SK were trying to eyeball right there. Give them a little bit more reliable engage options. Because again, last game, it was primarily just the Varus ultimate. Now they have the Sejuani immediately, giving them way more options to go forward.
This will be the 5th time that Marcoon has played that Sejuani. All 4 previous games were victories, and the Lucian Nami exactly as expected.
I'm curious if we get the Draven again for extra kick, and they're already covered. I feel like this has been such a good answer to the Lucian Nami, being able to play this hyper-aggressive lane. You've already got your lead coming through from from having the Sejuani there as well, but actually going to turn over last second. We're just going to get the Zeri Lulu instead.
Yeah, the scaling options for SK have been very popular for them recently, just sort of snowballing past your opponents. No big surprise, Elyoya moves over to the Vi here as well with the big three junglers taken off the board. I think that gives him so many options, just hard camp a lot of lanes, especially once the ultimate does come online. And I think that playing around mid lane as well, like some of the champions that Niski likes to play, a lot of single target burst if they want to sort of set up and look to blow up Certus.
And that's where I think for SK, it's kind of hard to try and pigeonhole Niski right now. His champion pool is so large. I think you do prioritize topside. Get rid of things like the Gnar, get rid of some of these easy blind pick champions, and then basically put the pressure on towards Mad Lions going, hey, do you want to counter pick your mid, or do you want to counter pick your top side on red side?
I think you almost expect like Cassante blind to come in here for Chasey. That could be a good option. A Gnar as well, I would say too, just to make sure Niski does have counter pick on the bot side of the map, because mid lane was a problem for SK in game number 1. Niski's Zoe was all over Certus. The solo kill in mid lane, dominating him once they swapped down towards the bottom side as well. So the fact that they are red side and can guarantee him a winning matchup when he's already winning this matchup is so brutal for SK.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be the Gnar coming through here for Chasey, and then again, as you say, set up easy for Niski to have that counter pick. There are options here for Certus still in that mid lane. We can try and fall back towards things like the Victors or the Cassiopes or these kind of things that he's been happy to play, and especially when you got a very short range composition like Mad Lions that wants to dive forward, opens up opportunities for things like the Cassiope.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Sylas too as a potential option here. Big ultimates from both junglers you can try to steal away and look for picks with in the mid game. Could be a decent option if the matchup is suitable, but the Cassante does come through for Chasey, so maybe just Cassante Gnar once again if Relevant wants to walk into it. At least he's not at as big of risk at getting dove as he was versus the Elise.
I mean, Chasey has played more Cassante than any other champion this split. This will be the 7th game played. Of his 6 previous, he picked up 4 wins, and I think when you look back on that previous game performance, the flanks, the ability to pick up those solo kills, Chasey had a significant impact. Irrelevant has locked in that Gnar and Certus. What will this final lock-in be? We've already got the makings of a strong team fight. We've got a good front line. We've got initiation tools, and Certus will lock in the Akali. 2 games played already this winter. However, both of them were victories. He's had powerful performances, and Niski, what did you run into it here, Ender?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, because like the Akali pick is definitely spicy. I was thinking the Sylas could be a solid answer here. I was thinking Certus might just blind pick the Sylas, to be completely honest. But you've got such great ultimates on the other side. You can potentially try to steal away, but it's the Kassadin that Mad Lions banned in game number 1. Niski ticking up the clock to 16.
I mean, the biggest issue, I like the Kassadin as an answer into the Akali, but I do get a bit nervous where it's like, okay, every other part of our composition really wants to try and play through a strong mid-game, and you're not really getting your opportunity to play towards that because you are waiting for this Kassadin to come online. You're also going to give yourself a little bit of vulnerability when it comes towards early skirmishes. So again, it does feel like a huge amount relies on Mad Lions being able to stabilize the bot lane, play through Karzi and Hilly for the early stages, and buy time for Niski to get to that later point.
Mad Lions have demonstrated a strong ability to do everything you just said. Dagda, so the pressure is going to be here on SK Gaming. In terms of adaptations in Game 2, do you like what you've seen here from SK?
Yeah, SK looking much better, I think. Just jungle champion for Marcoon looks really solid. They've got the scaling options. Mid lane is still a bit of a question mark to me, but this is a much more doable situation for Certus to get out around the map, play alongside Irrelevant, and try to snowball out towards your bottom lane.
It just looks like comfort. It just looks exactly what they've been able to perform on during the regular split, and it's been something that we haven't really got to see a huge amount of in the early stages go well, but it's something that they've definitely been able to perform on later on as those games go deeper in. So I'm expecting to see this once more. Probably a little bit of struggle for SK in the early stages, but if they can get this Zeri Lulu going, that's where XK can step up again.
Where does Marcoon focus his time? Where does Marcoon take his undefeated Sejuani? Where does Marcoon try to lead SK once more? He's shown an ability to impact on this specific champion time and time again. Let's hit the rift for Mad vs SK. Let's take a quick look at this bottom lane. No 5v5 shenanigans this time around. It was at least a small attempt in game number 1. And for now, a fairly defensive start. So I'll keep my eyes once again on this jungle pathing from Marcoon and Alioya. Marcoon this time round needs to have a more meaningful impact, I feel. The game 1 Elise from Alioya was absolutely everywhere, but I think a little bit more surprising for me was just how active every single lane was. We had solo kills, we had duo kills. Everybody was skirmishing pretty much throughout the entirety of the laning phase.
And I feel like we're going to get a similar story here for Mad Lions, specifically trying to play around Karzi and Hylissang. I feel like trying to get this bot lane unlocked so you can try and play for Rift Herald, try and find opportunities to actually stall out the game, you know, maybe contest an early dragon, so that then Nisqy actually gets time to scale into the later portion game is going to be so crucial for them.
Oh, Exekick and DOS are trying to maybe find a timing where they could catch Karzi and Hylissang, noting they were a little bit split apart when they went for that early ward, spotting out Marcoon. I think both junglers should be spotted here, although Alioya, knowing his red buff potentially warded, moving down towards his bottom side of the map. So he's not giving away he's on the red buff, but that sort of gives away that he's moving towards the bot side of the map.
Maybe some information, and the question is, what does he do next? What does he do after he's picked up a few of those camps? Immediately, all the lanes are continuing to play aggressive. We saw Karzi and Hilly trading with Exekick and DOS in the river, and we're going to be pushing forward, using the ranged abilities of these Enchanter supports to try and gain some level of control. Karzi and Hilly stepping forward, but respecting the lance, respecting the Lulu for now.
There's big focus on SK's bot lane to get priority here. Playing into bot lane very early on, they hit level 2 first, have the shove here as well, but this puts them in a slightly compromised position because Marcoon, finishing his 3rd camp, wants to move towards the top side to clear that away, whereas Alioya has the option to look for a bot side gank.
Great observers there, or great highlight from the observers, as Marcoon was able to avoid that ward just in front of his chicken camp. Gets over the wall, DOS forced to dash away. Will be able to stay alive for now, but so much burst damage from that Lucian Nami combo.
I mean, Marcoon going to try and make his way up towards this top side with Chasey overextended, but I feel like Alioya should be able to match him bot, but he's going to roam up towards this top side for his red buff as well.
Oh, damage coming down. Going to get that hyper proc as well as the boomerang. The Arctic Assault from Marcoon. Chasey goes forward, has thrown down the ghost for now. Alioya not even making his way up top, conceding this for the time being. The root comes in from Marcoon, Irrelevant chasing in that mini-gnaw. Boomerang goes out, and it's first blood to SK.
Yeah, and because Alioya already started moving towards the top side of the map, no potential to threaten down towards the bottom side. A really nice move from Marcoon. Again, on a proactive early game, jungler finds the angle after 3 camps to move straight into the top lane. And if we could actually hover over, because they're going to fight over the crab right now. I think Irrelevant was trying to set up a freeze, but that means he doesn't have prio to move into river.
Look at the river. Chasey's going to be first reply from top, but it's Certus from mid that is throwing some level of backup. While that's happening, the engage in the bottom lane. Exekick has got that barrier and may need it if the fight continues. Hylissang chunked down low. Karzi stepping forward, trying to use that passive. Burst fire after burst fire from Exekick, holding on to those sums. DOS is forced to flash to safety, and now Exekick steps forward, gets the Ultra Shock, and that's going to be a small advantage here to Mad Lions.
That was such a weird 2v2 because Mad Lions are obviously winning in a sense, but the only target they could really hit after the flash was Exekick, who still has the barrier and the flash, and he could have turned that around with a very low man on card.
I think it's actually a bit of a follow-on from DOS messing up early and taking the horrible trade. The wave was in a terrible position, and they've been trying so hard to get that push in, and trying to get that means that Karzi and Hilly are able to get another summoner spell off of DOS, and it feels like an easy setup now for Alioya if he can make his way down towards this bottom side. Exekick sticks around though, will get the wave crash, which is crucial for them there.
A lot of damage onto Hilly. Won't be able to find that laser burst, and as Exekick pushes this wave in, small CS advantage. Some of these minions will be denied to Karzi, but he hasn't backed just yet. So both of these bottom lanes on slightly different timers. Karzi has now returned to lane, and DOS stepping into Mad Lions jungle.
Yeah, this is kind of tough right now because I think Marcoon is in a really awkward position. He was pathing towards bot because that's where his camps are coming back up, and also Exekick really wanted to push the wave, but at the same time, Irrelevant's trying to freeze on the top side of the map. Alioya has free reign to walk into the top side jungle, so he's going to be able to get a lot of camps, and it's putting us in a position where Marcoon very behind in terms of EXP. This is very Malrong-esque of him now ticking up to 4, where he almost has to look for ganks. I'm a little bit surprised to see Alioya not stick around to go for the Grump, but with the top lane starting to push back a little bit, he doesn't commit.
I mean, you mentioned the stats there from Marcoon, and in terms of junglers, and at least statistically speaking, he's not one of the impressive junglers. He's near the bottom of the table for goal difference, K+A, kill participation. But one of the things that I do find very interesting about Marcoon is he has found an ability to impact the game and to get his team ahead. Specifically on the Sejuani, he's already found first blood in this game, and it's going to allow Irrelevant to continue applying pressure here onto Chasey. 20 CS lead already. And keep in mind, this is because of the fact that Marcoon was able to gank and help Irrelevant early on.
But that's the thing, we've kind of seen the two different styles coming through as Mad Lions have had Niski and Elyoya working together, and they want to try and make a play on boss.
Right, no flash available for DOS. Heal just came back up. Maybe he doesn't need that right now. Exakick facing off against 4 members of the Mad Lions. The tower shot's doing a lot of work on Elyoya's HP. But Exakick flashes forward, gets himself at least 1 back. The Mad Lions kill both SK's bottom laners.
A double kill for Carzzy. Now, Certus is here. Marcoon also very close, but I don't know if they quite have the ability to close the gap.
Ooh.
Good flash by Carzzy. Dodges away from the Shuriken, and that should be the end of things for SK.
Well, almost SK. Can they find a little bit more? The recall's a little bit greedy here. As all of a sudden, Niski and Carzzy cancel it. They burst down Marcoon. Dash all the way forward. Marcoon's running for his life. He stays alive below 200. And Mad Lions able to fend off SK.
Certus is way less of a threat without that ultimate available, so Mad Lions stick around. They know that they have Elyoya waiting in the wings as well, so just waiting to see if SK overstep. Exkick did a nice job to get one back, but it's still Mad Lions who get away with this.
Yeah, Mad Lions are just playing really well, and I think this comes down to Elyoya playing around the wave states, right? Again, he was topside when Irrelevant was trying to freeze. It lets him walk into the enemy jungle. Then Marcoon runs up to try and cover. Mad Lions have pushing bot side, so he and Niski roam down to attempt the dive up against the SK duo. They are always looking to punish on those crashing waves. I think Marcoon's been slightly mismatched with where he's going at those times.
Of course, for Mad Lions, crucially, they've been able to contain this Zeri Lulu lane. It's a 2-0 Lucian, and this is taking us back to the dive.
And this is a great timing window for Niski. Earlier TP means that he gets into wave to push mid, then gets to move into bot side, is here for the dive. Great setup. Little bit unfortunate here where Elyoya does an extra auto attack onto Exakick, which then means that he ends up tanking up the wave, which actually allows Exakick then to go for this play underneath the tower. So a little bit unfortunate, but still great job there to get 2 kills early onto this Lucian.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you get 2 kills on the Lucian, you're able to push in that wave, deny the minions away, so bot lane even in terms of those minions. But we'll have to keep watching this, because I think Marcoon, especially now that he's ticked over to level 6, is going to have to be on the money when it comes to reading where Elyoya is trying to dive around the map. Elyoya, also level 6, you know he wants to use that the second he can.
Look at this, both teams at least showing face around the Rift Herald. 2-on-1 onto Chase. He's being focused out here. He's going to use all out to get inside the pit. Not going to be able to get over the wall. Locked in place, and the kill is secured by Certus. SK Gaming able to punish Chasey, who was a little bit out of position, I feel.
Mad Lions were trying to use the fact that Niski had pushed in mid and Chasey had shoved in top to maybe group up around this, but without Elyoya there, they're just outnumbered. SK pick up the kill, they get a crucial kill onto Certus as well, and yes, Elyoya will be able to trade for Dragon, but if SK can actually crack open these towers, get some much needed gold into the hands of Exakick and Certus, it's well worth it for them.
Yeah, I mean, top lane is just a wasteland right now. Irrelevant's getting multiple plates. There's always going to be that Rift Herald as well if they want to look to try and set up a dive. Now, it is going to be traded down on the bottom side of the map. You can see how the gold is kind of equalizing. 1.3 in favor of Gnar top side, 500 for Carzzy down on the bot half there, as well as Hilly gets 1 extra auto in. Proc the Spell Thieves get a little bit of extra money on that support item.
And the thing for me is for SK Gaming to have a gold lead, to have an advantage in kills, also to be able to pick up some of those neutral objectives by 10 minutes. This was an area of the game that they've been struggling with. So to bounce back, this is a great start.
And they want to try and extend that as well. Look at where Marcoon is again, hovering down here with the Rift Herald. You've already got 2 plates taken on this tower. They're trying to abuse the fact that you just had this reset from Carzzy and Hilly to crash this wave and look to finish off this tower on bot side. Certus, though, with reset on mid, does mean Niski could roam down to the bot side and actually match a lot of this pressure.
Yeah, there's a really big window for Mad Lions to do anything they want with the bases that are coming from SK, the support as well. So you can see Elyoya level 6, Hilly level 6. Let's walk into the enemy jungle, see if we can find a pick. There is a Zeri right next to us, and Exakick's walking straight towards it. I don't think they have the damage dealers quite in range to commit into a fight with all the fog of war and Marcoon potentially in the area.
Not enough information there, but Mad Lions are on the hunt. Niski's already in the river, making his way towards this bottom lane. So the potential for another dive on the cards, and they're going to continue making that move.
Mad Lions want to abuse the item mismatch in bot lane, right? Carzzy has Gale Force already finished. Exakick, not quite as close. Made the pit stop 1100 on the Berserker Greaves, so it's a little bit lacking behind with those 2 kills that went to Carzzy. So any fights that break out around the Lucian, Mad Lions are winning.
Niski's been doing such a great job of managing his waves as well to make sure he's constantly finding windows to crash his wave mid, to sync up with Karzi and Hilly crashing their own wave on bot side. He's able to always offer an extra man for Mad Lions on the bot side plays, which is why they have crazy vision on this bottom side that's spotting out every move SK are trying to make.
SK right now trying to clear that out. Still holding on to that bottom tower. Two tower plates secured apiece for this bottom lane. Irrelevant, we caught a glimpse of him continuing to apply pressure onto Chasey up top. And Niski's even going to be able to get some damage there. Certus unable to get over the wall.
Yeah.
Irrelevant continuing. He's nearly 2,000 gold ahead of Chasey's Cassante.
But that shuriken flip missing is actually a really big deal because I don't think Niski could have stayed for the 3-4 auto attacks that were required to take the turret plate. So big amount of money, equalizing the mid lane matchup just because of one flubbed jump. That's not a great look.
And this now leaves an opportunity for, again, Oyoya to push up towards this top side. He's just trying to match Marcoon across the map because you know Marcoon is having that ticking timer on the Rift Herald. Looks like he's just going to plunk it down in mid lane off this wave push. Will be nice gold for Certus. You can try and deal with carries in the back line eventually, or maybe even Niski at the moment.
Look at this Dagda, as well as Exkick and DOS. They've made their way up. Elyoya waiting inside that chicken camp. Not going to hop over the wall. The challenge or the problem is that Mad Lions duo is going to apply damage on that bottom tower.
Which is why I was so surprised to see Exekick and DOS roam up. I was like, okay, you're giving it to Certus, let him have it, but you're basically giving Karzi free
75?
time underneath the tower.
Well, now all of a sudden, the all out goes on to Irrelevant. Flash still available for him, going towards Mad Lion's side, but the cease and desist comes out, and Chasey gets himself a kill in reply. Elyoya able to set that one up for Mad Lions.
Mad Lions does a great job tracking around vision, and it all starts, believe it or not, with Hylissang on the bottom side. There were two control wards that SK placed inside their jungle. One was right outside of the Dragon Pit on the left side of the wall. Hylissang ran over there and cleared that control ward while SK were showing 4 players in mid. Then all 4 of those players run down to try and pick off Hylissang, who knows exactly how much time he has. That leaves top lane wide open for Elyoya to find the timing and find the kill.
And this is just really well played coming through from Mad Lions here. Again, Chasey has been doing such a good job of interrupting all these jumps from Irrelevant. We saw it in the last game, now we're seeing it once more. With Elyoya here, it's an easy setup. Just picking off Irrelevant, no hope from there.
Brutal scenes on the top side, because it was and still is going so well for Irrelevant. Up 1.3 at the moment. But a Drake does spawn in 50 seconds, and this is where things get interesting. Xkick is basing now. Does he have enough for his first item? That could be a really big factor in this game. He's hiding out in base, so I hope he has enough as Elyoya steals away the camp. And he does. There it comes through.
I don't think SK are going to fight for this. Look at where DOS is placing all their vision. It feels to me like they're basically going to shove in mid and try and make a play topside onto Chasey. Although, Certus might be in trouble here.
Well, Mad Lions stepping forward. Marcoon's got the prison available to him. DOS can respond as Exekick joins him in the middle lane. Mad Lions will be able to at least push that vision forward. No teleport for Chasey, who's currently fending off Irrelevant in the top lane. And the Dragon will be spawning in just a few seconds.
I mean, the fact that Elyoya is just living inside Marcoon's jungle says so much about how Mad Lions are playing for this bottom side of the map. Elyoya leading the league in terms of forward percentage of junglers. Marcoon, 10th place. Completely different when it comes to these two guys. And now you have to walk in through all of these control wards. Mad Lions constantly looking for a pick. It's a little bit of poke damage as the X-Kick has to dash out.
And Mad Lions are doing such a good job of drawing SK around the map. Ideally, they would be trying to look for a dive off of Irrelevant, having the wave push and top, but because Mad Lions are slowly but surely pushing in, getting vision, putting pressure onto Certus, it was very hard for SK to really do anything. Now, pushing mid, though, does give them an opportunity.
Yeah, they group 4v3 in mid lane, so they have prio. Actually, the wave coming through. Going to be a good field goal on that, but as Niski continues to push in the bottom side of the map, right now, Mad Lions do not have control of Riven. That is a problem for them, but Chasey has the option to move down if he wants.
But Mad have missed their timing window. Irrelevant gets top lane turret, he's going to be able to shove in, he gets to roam down first, and I feel like Mad Lions had the opportunity to actually start up this Dragon, use the amount of vision that they had set up, but they went for red buff instead, and now SK are in a position to really fight for this.
And of course, with no tidal wave available, it kind of emboldened SK just a little bit. They stepped into the river, but it is Mad Lions that have started off this Dragon. SK stepping forward. Certus can flank from the south, and the Dragon is now secured. Chasey's making his way towards a potential fight. No teleport, and Irrelevant is already here. The prison comes up, and Kazi instantly cleanses and flashes away. Certus dives all the way forward, and here comes Exekick. He's been culled down, but the
He's alive?
keeps him alive. Gigantic shields and heals. All of a sudden, it's Mad Lions running back.
SK roll in, get one kill. They should be able to find the turret as well. Although Mad Lions, look how Chasey is moving right now. He might try to look for a pick. Right now, SK, they're trying to base, but Irrelevant is very far forward.
This is going to be trouble. Marcoon's able to complete it. Slightly greedy and Irrelevant will be able to Mega Gnar out. Some
They all
support
just dipped on him.
Mad Lion stepping forward. Irrelevant will hop over Doss's head, who's still got that flash available to him. Here comes Aoyoi. No ultimate available, no minion wave to work with for a few seconds longer. And SK escaped. That was a little bit risky, but Mad Lion should secure the tower.
Doss being a homie there, letting Irrelevant jump on his head to make the great escape, managing to step away. So great job from SK, and even Exekick there, you kind of said it. The heal, the shield, the picks, the wall growth, that he wipes the sweat from his head and says, oh yeah, that was an easy one.
Easy peasy, get out of there, no problem. But I'm still not convinced that was a winning play for SK, and I think that's a lot of damage. A big part of that was Certus wanted to run bot side, didn't want to give up the waves that Niski had been shoving in for so long. And because of that, Mad Lions were able to group up, sneak away the Baron. Yes, they lose one player, but at the end of the day, they didn't lose the tower, they got one themselves, and now they're first over here onto the Herald. SK are not grouped up, but it teleports up in 5 for Irrelevant.
Do they want to fight it? It might be too late. The Rift Herald is already secured. Aoyoi picks that one up. Irrelevant continues to push in that bottom lane, maintaining that 2,000 gold lead, 30 CS advantage over Chasey for the moment. And SK have maintained some level of a lead. They've got that 2,000 gold advantage. They managed to apply pressure, but unfortunately they are still down 2 dragons, and this was the engage that was started off by SK.
Great job from Karzi here. Tanks the ultimate from Marcoon, knowing it has the cleanse, immediately gets that one out. Flash Gale Force to try and get a bit of distance, but Exekick goes in here, manages to get the ultimate, finish off the kill, and look how much just comes down in his spot. He manages to dodge out the bubble, but shield, barrier, heal, ward growth, everything used to make sure that the AD carry stays standing and gets a little something back for SK.
It's just one thing that I've been paying really close attention to this series is how both these teams are playing off of their waves. And I think SK, they do win out in the fight, but there were options, right? Like if Irrelevant had taken one less wave in top lane, he's down bot side 20 seconds faster. They're in the river. Acertus gives up the wave down bot side. They can again try to contest it as here we go.
Well, that's Exekick caught out with the cease and desist. He's able to use the wall for safety, and Marcoon's bought enough time for Irrelevant's teleport. It's Kazi that's taken out. Mad Lions have bitten off more than they can chew, and it's 2 kills to SK.
Who needs the waves when you got a double TP?
Oh my God.
Get into the mid lane. It doesn't matter if you're a little bit late. And now SK, they do get a lot back, but the big problem now is they have to gain more. 2 TPs down for things like Baron and third Dragon up. They have to net a huge win out of this.
All good. They get 2 kills. They're going to get 2 towers as well. Yoi goes way too deep. That was absolutely wild. Also, for all you aspiring Vi players out there, Zeri's really slippery. It's really hard. Like, the follow-up isn't there in time to get the immediate burst. So if she gets next to a wall, she is just absolutely out of there. Marcoon also with a great interrupt onto Karzi means there's no culling or anything to try and chain the damage down. And frankly, nowhere for Karzi to run.
And SK Gaming was so ready for that. The teleport's coming in instantaneously. Marcoon managing to connect with that Glacial Prison, preventing any of the culling damage from being thrown out, and that extends the gold lead. SK Gaming, 2 towers to 1, 3K up. And just before we get set up for another fight, I want to just highlight some of the experience differences between these respective teams. If you look at the table on the left-hand side of your screen, this is the total number of LEC games that have been played between the respective players. Hylissang, by far, the most experienced player here on the roster. And I think for this young, for this new, for this developing SK squad, they're in a great position. And in my opinion, the ability to improve upon that early game that looked so weak in the last couple of games is fantastic.
They might struggle here in the mid game though. Double TP now gone. Chasey gets the push in, or sorry, Niski gets the push in on top side, and immediately Mad Lions are going to trade this. They can go for 2 towers, and it's Mad Lions saying, hey, look, we don't care if you get a dragon. We know we have the TP advantages and we can play for this.
But look at this response from SK, shoving out mid. Karzi was supposed to be there to be able to pick that one up, but can't really do anything. So yeah, sure, 2 towers going to be played for on the top side. side. Maybe a third could be strong enough for Mad Lions with the extra charge of the Rift Herald going through. Hit that tower, make sure it can get one more big attack, and that could be really big. 143 HP, but does look like the Akali's in time to shut that one down.
And very important, Niski level 13 for the time being. 0-0-2. Nat Cassidy getting closer and closer to that level 16 power spike. And I think for SK, going to be very happy. They've got those additional towers in the inner set, on the inner mid lane. They've managed to pick up their first dragon as well, delaying that soul, delaying that Elder Dragon. And it is still SK currently playing on the front foot.
And don't forget as well, just on the levels for Niski, he still has to finish this Rod of Ages, so we'll still get that extra level coming through when he gets the 10 stack. So Niski well on his way to being a massive threat, and already when you can see Karzi as well, 2 kills, Gale Force, working on that last Whisper as well. He's in a fantastic spot to actually try and be a big threat. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the crew lock up in mid with Elyoya, Karzi, and Hilly, see if they can find these quick picks, play around the Lucian, and just buy time and space again for Niski to continue to scale.
I'm just not sure how easily Mad Lions are going to be able to fight for Vision. Right now, they take control of bot side river, SK take top, but with SK having first hit on this mid wave, they should be able to walk in to that red buff jungle of Mad Lions, maybe put down some wards. There are 2 in the inventory of DOS if you want to use those. Also have the vision in mid to make sure Mad Lions can't just run straight down that lane into the river as an option. But for Mad Lions, as long as Chasey is in a side lane, it's pretty hard for them to sort of step forward right into the darkness of SK's jungle, because I mean, who's going to tank Elyoya? Maybe you have the scouting of a piercing light from Karzi, but not much more than that.
And of course, the teleports that were used just a couple minutes ago, now available. 10 seconds for both Irrelevant and Certus. Niski as well will get his back. And both teams setting up in this North River. Irrelevant can jump into the fight if necessary, but Mad Lions challenging the vision and starting to back out.
Exactly. This is good fundamental, right? Chasey pushes out the bot side wave, moves up with his team, and that unlocks the ability for Mad Lions to step into the Baron.
But I do agree with your point, Ender. It feels like it should be Chasey pushing top, Niski pushing bot.
Yep.
You've got the Caston, who has the TP as well. He'll be totally fine, but it allows you to work with Chasey. And this is something that we kind of seen from Mad Lions a lot, where they underutilize Chasey when it comes to the mid game. And I think this is really important now, where they do set themselves up for success and have that tanky front line so they can test SK as they move through the jungle.
One thing we haven't seen yet is the 1v1 between Caston and Gnar in a side lane, but look how Irrelevant is itemizing, right? Plated steel caps, going for the Randuins now. It's all this armor, and Niski, as he continues to get levels, continues to get items, bot lane's gonna look better and better and better, but now, with 2 teleports up on both solo laners, Mad Lions are trying to collapse 2v1 against Irrelevant.
Irrelevant has got that Mega Gnar available. He's gonna initiate now onto Niski, find the stun teleport coming out from Certus. Is Irrelevant gonna be alive?
Too late.
When it completes, flashes into the tri-bush, and Chasey's trying to hunt down, not gonna find the damage from the Q, and Niski is all of a sudden being focused.
What?
He may be taken out from Certus, who's forced to flash over the wall, and it's SK that win it out.
What a play! Certus teleports in, Irrelevant kiting for his life, somehow stays alive, dodging everything Chasey throws against him on just 1 HP. The entire game unlocked now for SK as they sprint to the Baron.
Irrelevant still has the TP. He's going to reset and make sure that he can get here. Elyoya, you have to make the miracle skill, but SK, they don't want to let him in.
They've peeled, they've stunned him, they've locked him down. The chase is on, and Exekick will kill Elyoya. Tidal Wave is used defensively for the Mad Lions. They forced Mad's hand, and SK are back inside the pits.
In game 1, the solo laners for Mad Lions absolutely carry, but in game 2, Certus and Irrelevant destroy them in the 2-on-2.
5 versus 3. Not a lot to work with. Another teleport coming in as Niski has respawned inside the pit. Irrelevant hops over the wall, uses that Gnar once more, and Niski
Karzi!
jumps forward. Baron is secured by SK at the cost of Irrelevant's life, and Mad are on the hunt, forcing the flash from DOS, who will use that blast cone to safety for now. Riftwalk after Riftwalk, and Niski now has to deal with 4 members of SK. How aggressive is he feeling? The Baron secured, 5,000 gold the lead, and it's SK in control.
Perfect timing on the Baron as well, because they get to reset, come back out on the map, and 55 seconds until the Dragon is up as well. You can use that Baron to make sure you can get control over the area, and suddenly, again, we're seeing SK taking over in the mid game.
What a play from SK, because if Irrelevant doesn't dodge those abilities at the very end, right? The flash over the wall, kiting it out. Then Certus also just dies, but the burst damage against Niski, I was wondering how the 1v1 would go. Well, with the Mega Gnar to start, absolutely in favor of Irrelevant. But look at that, flashing into the control wards. There's no vision to try and get an attack, then dodging away from that ability as well. Kiting away with the hop and then procs hyper to finish off the kill. It is perfection with Certus following through.
The failed flash from Niski was really unfortunate as well. Doesn't get over the wall, doesn't get to create that distance. And then great follow-up here from SK. Immediately jump onto Yoya. Don't give Mad Lions the opportunity to look for the steal. And as we talked about, as you can see in the picture-in-picture, they're immediately going to move down to bot side. They want to put pressure around this Dragon area and see if they can use the Baron to get turrets and keep pressure.
Exceptional play from the individual members, allowing the team objectives to be secured. SK now on the siege. 5 members in this bottom lane. They are standing toe-to-toe with all 5 members of the Mad Lions, who are clearing out the minion wave relatively well. They can push that vision just a little bit further, and Dragon is also available. So an objective to fall back to if SK feel they have enough time. But it's all of a sudden Exakick that gets jumped on, gets cold below half health. The Prison not doing a whole lot to prevent Mad Lions, but the re-engage, it's all of a sudden Certus got himself one onto DOS. Certus is on the back line. He's got a kill already inside the field, and now finds a second. Niski not going to be able to kill out Exakick, and Chasey running for his life. Certus re-engages and finds yet another. A triple kill for Certus Akali.
Certus is just 1v9 in the backline. What a glow up here from the SK mid lane, eviscerating the squishies on the side of Mad Lions and turning around what looked like was going to be a lost fight for them.
Niski had his moment in the spotlight game 1, and now it's Certus saying, I've come to play as well. SK refuse to go easy off into the night, and now with Dragon still available, they just get to fall back towards that. Yoya is up and available, but very low. He can't really move in.
Certus locked in that Akali blind. Certus, I was anticipating to be the player that could have been punished, that could have been a problem, looking at how Niski has played all season long. And Certus right now is silencing everybody. 5-0-4 has had phenomenal impact. But I think more important or more impressive for me is how unified and how cohesive this entire SK squad look.
Yeah, I mean, Mad Lions think they have a window here. They just saw the Gnar in mid lane, so look for this big burst onto X-Kick. We can force a fight, and it looks all right, but watch Certus, how he past the front line straight into the enemy back lines. Now it's like, wait, all I have is a Nami to try and peel me. Nothing Karzi can do against that. All of the CC of Chasey is in the front, so there's nothing to stop Certus dancing around in the fog. Perfect reset there as well, and can turn it back around for a kill while Exakick is dodging away from so much too, dancing on the walls. It was a really nice team fight from SK, kiting back with their own backline while Certus went ballistic against Mats.
And it's great to see Certus stepping up again. Deathless in the series against Heretics, deathless in the series against Vitality. This guy has been a crucial part of SK, silenced in game 1, but now stepping up hugely once more. Going to start pushing in onto this top side for SK. Niski answering in the bot side though.
Of course, SK Gaming have run out their timeout on the Baron. They've got themselves 2 dragons to their name. And I think one thing that I haven't necessarily paid a huge amount of attention to, but almost every single one of these big team fights for the last 10 or so minutes, there have been the crucial flashes available. There have been the summoners up. And the Mad Lions have not been able to find opportunities or find windows to punish. For example, that double TP that SK committed to mid. The next few minutes, they played passive, they played controlled. They didn't allow an opportunity for Mad Lions to come back into the game. And that's what's given SK all the tools in these fights.
And that's where I was kind of talking about, for Karzi and Hilly, you've got a mid-game composition. Yoya being mid-game, and suddenly you slap a cast into the middle of there. Yes, you will have